Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome back to our channel once again. In this video, I want to explain to you guys why personally I strongly believe that Raila Odinga should not just agree to sign any political deal or agreement with William Samoei Arap Ruto. Because if Raila Odinga is not careful, William Ruto might actually be scheming to destroy his political career once and for all. We all know that Raila Odinga contested to become the chair of the African Union Commission. And Raila Odinga failed in that bid. And one of the questions which most Kenyans have been asking, what next for Raila Amolo Odinga? And of course, after failing to secure that win, Raila Odinga's options narrowed. And one of the options for Raila Odinga was to support William Ruto because William Ruto campaigned for him. The second option was for Raila Odinga to contest for the presidency in 2027 because currently ODM party is the biggest political party in the Republic of Kenya. And of course, there's also the third option, which is to support, let's say, Kalonzo or Matiang'i to defeat William Ruto because William Ruto has become very unpopular in the Republic of Kenya. But we all know that William Ruto is also very scheming. And William Ruto has been scheming with Raila Odinga since he declared his bid of becoming the chair of the African Union Commission. And that's why immediately Raila Odinga came back into the country, William Ruto was at hand to receive him and host him in Mombasa State House. And from that meeting at State House in Mombasa, it was very clear that either these guys signed some agreement or they prepared a document which their team are currently going through. But is it right for Raila Odinga to just sign in any agreement with William Ruto? I don't think that is the best thing Raila Odinga can do. And I want to explain to you guys why I strongly believe that Raila Odinga must take his time. Before you do that, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you this question. And I want to read your comments. If elections were to be held in the Republic of Kenya today, and we have President William Ruto on the ballot, we have Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka supported by Rigathi Gachagua on the ballot, and we also have, let's say, two other individuals, Fred Okengo Matiang'i on the ballot and Okia Omtata on the ballot. Do you think any of them would meet the 50% plus one threshold? Or let us vote. Who do you vote for from that list? William Ruto is scheming. And William Ruto knows one thing, that after the exit of Mount Kenya from his corner, Raila Odinga is his only savior. So William Ruto, in his own wisdom, is trying everything possible to ensure that Raila Odinga is in his corner. And Raila Odinga, in my view, is also giving in because immediately he returned back into the country. He went to Mombasa and announced to the country that he was going to make some political announcement. Then Raila Odinga flew to Kisumu yesterday and he met with the Luo Council of Elders. I don't know what they talked about. And after that, Raila Odinga also met with MCS from Kisumu County. And after that meeting, Raila Odinga also informed Kenyans that he was going to make some political statement.
Now we're moving forward. I'd said that there was going to be life after Addis Ababa, and that's why I'm back here. And I say that before I make any comprehensive statement, I was going to consult widely. I'm not just going to be confined to Nyanza or this part of Nyanza. I will be talking to leadership from Kisii, from Western, from the coast, from the Rift Valley, from the Eastern, from Northeastern, from Central, all over the country. During this period of time, I'm going to consult before we make the next move, as I said. So I say that I will make a statement sometimes next week. And I want just to tell you here also that watch this space. Yeah. I'm going to make a statement next week. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
ask me, Raila Odinga can actually enter into any political agreement with anybody, including William Ruto. And in fact, the main reason why political parties are formed, the main reason is to acquire political power. If anything, Raila Odinga has tried to acquire that political power on many occasions without success. But he has always managed to maneuver around it through the back door. So I'm not so sure whether Raila Odinga can acquire that political power by working with William Ruto. I don't know. But for me, entering into political arrangement with William Ruto needs some careful consideration. Because number one, it has the potential of dividing the ODM party right in the middle. As we speak, two camps have emerged from ODM party or within ODM party. There's the camp which is fully embracing working with William Ruto, and there's the camp which believes that working with William Ruto is not the best for the party. And I want to give the case of two individuals, Babu Owino, Edwin Sifuna, or may I add there people like Anyang' Nyong'o and maybe the governor for Siaya, James Orengo. So it's easy to divide ODM party into two because you look at it, Ruto himself might want ODM to split because a united ODM party is not good for Ruto. So that even if Raila Odinga were to say, I'm not signing any agreement, William Ruto would be keen on dividing ODM party. In fact, that is how he began after becoming the president. William Ruto went and picked some 7 members of ODM party to his side, which means his intention has always been to divide ODM party. Number two, the party members themselves. There are some who are not willing to work with William Ruto, and this is not a secret. And because dealing with William Ruto is likely to divide ODM party, Raila Odinga must be very careful because a divided ODM party is not good for Raila Odinga's politics. So that's number two. I also tend to think that William Ruto might actually be using Raila Amolo Odinga to help him fight Rigathi Gachagua, which is generally what is referred to as politically as proxy wars. And this proxy wars is being extended not between Rigathi and Ruto himself, but the main intention is to try and drive a wedge between the Luos and the Kikuyus. Because William Ruto has realized that the mountain is gone. And the only way he can secure the presidency is by locking out the mountain from teaming up with the rest of the country. And that's why the narrative of 41 versus 1 is coming up. And it's easy to create that wedge between the Kikuyus and the Luos, because historically, that wedge began at independence. And when Kenyans thought it was going to end, let me just tell you a story of which happened in early 90s. In early 90s, Jaramogi Odinga had planned to contest for the presidency. And there was a general consensus that he was going to be the guy. So Paul Mwite went and approached some two gentlemen, Charles Rubia and Kenneth Matiba, and he convinced them to support Jaramogi Odinga. The two agreed and they came and they committed. And when they came and met with Jaramogi Odinga was a bit non-committal because of the history of independence, where he was actually a party. Then Matiba got sick. He went to London for some treatment. While in London, certain gentlemen followed him there. Kikuyu people followed him there and convinced him that he can actually become the president, that people love him more than Jaramogi Odinga. So when Kenneth Matiba arrived into the country, came back into the country, they organized for him a very huge homecoming. And when Matiba saw the crowd, he saw the presidency with his own eyes. And that's how the former president, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, was able to defeat the opposition. Matiba became number 2, Jaramogi number 3, because of the Kikuyu factors. But at the end of the day, they lost to Moi, who had less than 40%. William Ruto is trying that mathematics, and he wants Raila Odinga to play it. Because currently, you've seen Rigathi Gachagua trying to convince Raila Odinga that we can actually support you. I can support you. But it's easy to convince the Luos that there's no way the Kikuyu nation will vote for him. Because even in 2022, they say Kikuyu never voted for Raila. But the truth is, Raila Odinga got close to over 1 million votes from the Kikuyu Nation, which is a huge number. And the fact that now they are not with Ruto, it's easier for that number to actually increase. But because Ruto is fighting that proxy wars, Raila Odinga must be very careful, because in future, in fact, this is what Uhuru wanted to do. Uhuru wanted to break that historical injustices between the Kikuyus and the Luos, that historical hatred, by convincing the Kikuyus to vote for Raila Odinga. Raila should not enter into that agreement if that agreement is purely to help Ruto fight the Kikuyu Nation. Because when Ruto was convincing the Kikuyu Nation to vote for him, Raila Odinga was not part of it. And again, if that hatred is created right now, in future, it will be hard. This is the moment in the history of the Republic of Kenya when the Kikuyu Nation will not have a presidential candidate and they are not going to vote just because they are voting. So Raila Odinga must not let that opportunity to slip. Number 3, there is also the Azimio Factor. And my fear is that if Raila Odinga were to just sign any agreement with William Ruto without considering the Azimio Factor, then he might gain the tag of a betrayer. For example, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka stood with Raila Odinga. He's likely to be on the ballot with the support of Rigathi Gachagua and the Mountain. If Raila Odinga were to support Kalonzo, that's a high chance. Of course, there are also those who argue that William Ruto also supported Raila Odinga at some point, which is a fact. And even in AU, he supported Raila because of political objectives. But I tend to think that before signing that agreement, Raila must figure out how to deal with Azimio. He might actually convince Kalonzo Musyoka to join them, in my view. Otherwise, Ruto might just be using him to also stop Azimio from uniting. Number 4, and this is the most dangerous bit of it, by agreeing to this agreement, even right now, a window has been opened for William Ruto to directly access ODM strongholds. Which means William Ruto can now decide to go to ODM strongholds and campaign directly, meet ODM leaders and campaign directly. He might win, he might not win. Remember, as we speak, there are ODM experts who are currently part of the government. I'm not so sure whether the 5 of them, if they were told to resign from government today, would resign. Power is sweet. None of them will be willing to resign. And those are the realities of politics. So which means they can even tell Raila Odinga, wewe enda huko, sisi tunabaki hapa. And that's exactly what William Ruto wants. So before signing these agreements, Raila Odinga must secure the interest of ODM party. Because let's face it, in 2027, ODM might not produce a presidential candidate, which means they must agree to zone. Ruto must be told, okay, if you're supporting you, then in Nyanza, in Western, specific areas, please don't sponsor any candidate on your party. That's the only way to secure the future of ODM. But just agreeing to sign, William Ruto will do to them what he did to Musalia Mudavadi. Are you aware that the member of parliament for Sabatia, where Musalia Mudavadi was born, is a member of UDA party? And of course, there is also the last point, which is Kenya Kwanza failures. Raila Odinga entered into some handshake with Uhuru Kenyatta. And most Kenyans attribute the failure of Raila Odinga to win the 2022 presidential elections to that handshake. Raila Odinga was able to carry the burden of Jubilee failures. And William Ruto was able to actually transfer those failures to Raila Odinga. As we speak, Kenya Kwanza is one of the most unpopular political parties or government in the history of the Republic of Kenya today. The rage Kenyans have against William Ruto is on another level as we speak. Those are the realities. Raila Odinga's reform credentials has been tainted just as a result of the abductions and elimination. So there are a lot of burden in this government. Raila Odinga supporting this government, fully agreeing to work with it, it would mean carrying those burden. So before moving forward, before signing these documents, Raila Odinga must sit down with William Ruto and agree with him that on the issue of abductions, what are we doing about it? Make it public. On the issue of economy, how are we going about it? On the issue of Jubilee failures, because unless they'll be able to find a way of excluding, which I don't think is possible, ODM party from Jubilee failures, I don't think, because as long as they'll be working, they'll be tied together. And importantly, which is upon us, is the Gen Z factor. The Gen Z of this country hold the future of political parties. ODM party has been in existence for 20 years without winning the presidency. They can still continue existing for another 30 years without winning the presidency. And that can only be possible if they have the support of the young people in the name of the Gen Zs. The Gen Zs of this country have very unkind words for William Ruto. Very. So which means for Raila Odinga to fully win the support of the Gen Zs, he must figure out how to deal with the issue of William Ruto. And that's the reality. Because if he will not be able to convince the young people that he's not part of the mess, the young people will not have time for him. And it will mean that the future of ODM party will be at stake. So you must be very careful before signing those documents. Until next time, this is Makwiny. Bye-bye.